Welcome back to RFL as we await night number 2 of the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. For the latest on what's happening in the arena, let's head back to Charlotte now live. Our own Richard French is standing by. Richard, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew. We're going to go over tonight's program in a second, but I'm very pleased to be joined by Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut. And Senator, first of all, thanks for a few minutes. What'd you make of last night?
Last night was really powerful. Michelle Obama really hit it out of the park, you know, not just a home run, but a grand slam, in evoking the vision of the future and values. You know, trying to make a difference, not just make money, which is fine, but she evokes something higher and really a call to service.
Is it a delicate balance from ideals to practice? People want substance now. The one thing that came out of Tampa, regardless of politics, was there wasn't a lot of tangible proposals on the table. Does the president have to lay out not just an idea or a vision thing for America, but actual how people he's going to put back to work over the next 4 years?
Well, he has made some very specific proposals. Unfortunately, I say this with regret, the Congress has failed to adopt many of them. The Jobs Act that he proposed, other measures that would put Americans and Connecticut citizens back to work. And I think he does need to be specific, but doesn't need to invent a whole new set of proposals just to show how we get from here to there.
I'm curious, if you were the president tonight, while you certainly like to have a popular ex-president, Bill Clinton, coming to the stage, an unvetted Bill Clinton, would you be a little bit, if not agitated, a little bit on edge here, what might come out?
No, you know, Bill Clinton is a pro. There's nobody who speaks better.
Yeah.
And I mean, in my generation, or so far as I know in America today, in political life, than Bill Clinton. And certainly Bill Clinton can have bad days just like everyone else, but he's given this speech a lot of thought. He's talked to a lot of people about it. He's not going to just go into his own meanderings. Yeah. He knows, and Bill Clinton, by the way, knows better than anyone, that a message has to be disciplined and determined and comprehensible in common sense terms to the average person.
You know, I said this to our last guest, but I thought a video that vast majority of people never got to see in the 8 o'clock hour last night that articulated with a real human story a kid who was about to be capped off for health care, and the HMO was going to cut him off because they reached the spending limit with lymphoma. The new legislation kept the kid getting care, arguably saved the kid's life, and obviously the family articulated that last night. Can, with only 60 days left, you finally craft a message to the party here to say this is what it actually did, and as my guest said, go on offense instead of defense about Obamacare?
I think he can and he will. Those specific stories, I agree with you, are more powerful than any rhetoric, abstractions. I really think, and I know from my own experience as Attorney General for 20 years, fighting for better health coverage for people who were denied it, that those stories are really compelling, and they tell average people why this health care debate is important, about use of pre-existing conditions, about limits on total health care expenditures, keeping kids on their parents' policies till the age of 26, very specific, tangible impacts of this law.
You know very well that this has become in many ways a niche election, different constituencies, different appeals. Last night, a very coherent appeal here to Latino vote, also female vote. But the one constituency that's squarely in the Romney camp at this point is the white middle-class male voter. Bill Clinton's going to arguably address that tonight. We'll see. From your own constituents, what do they want to hear? I mean, they talk about unemployment right now. They talk about uncertainty. Can there, I know there's not a magic bullet, but what do they want to hear from this president that'll say, fine, I'll give you 4 more years?
I think, first of all, they need to feel that he is committed to increasing employment, creating jobs, giving people the skills they need to fill openings that exist right now. As I go around the state of Connecticut, there are jobs, there are openings, but employers can't find people with the right skills. And so we need to increase and enhance skill training in our high school, technical schools, our community colleges, and the president's talked about it, but he needs to give it, again, a face and a voice and make it as tangible and real as possible.
Last question. The polls say this thing's a toss-up, even if the president gets a couple points bump out of the convention. The other side's got a lot more money, and a lot of it coming from the issue or from the third-party groups. Is this election, in your eyes, a toss-up? Are you confident you guys are going to win? What do you think happens in November?
I am never confident about election. I am always hopeful, and I always work like an underdog. And I think President Obama is the same way. He's going to leave no stone unturned. He will be up against a deluge of super PAC and 501c4 organization money, you know, where the donors aren't disclosed. But all he needs is enough money. He doesn't need more money. He doesn't need as much money. He needs enough money to push back, to counter the negative, to basically beat back untruths when they occur, and to make sure people understand what's at stake and what his vision and what his plan is.
And you didn't go to Washington to want to be in the minority. Do you think whoever wins the top of the ticket will decide who holds the Senate, Republicans or Democrats?
I think it may work the other way around. I think in a lot of states, Senate candidates are going to help the president, but it will work the other way too in some states. If he's able to carry some of those key battleground states, it will help the Senate candidate.
And Connecticut being one of the states here where I got a key Senate race. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But thankfully for you, not you this year.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, back to you.
All right, Richard French reporting live from the convention in Charlotte. Rich, thanks very much. Let's jump into Bill Clinton and his speech tonight. You've heard the questions about whether he might overshadow President Obama. Is that a concern for the Obama campaign, or is it, hey, a great speech is a great speech?
No, it can't be a concern. Let's look at this for a second. Would you rather be overshadowed for a night or two and win the election? Which one would you prefer? Bill Clinton is magical for the country, for the Democratic Party. He reminds Americans of the last good time financially that the country has had. Do you think the country focuses on the Bill Clinton scandal or the good fiscal times that the country had? And so those white voters, and that's the one thing that I would criticize Democrats for, they need to have a few more white men on that stage. You need to send a message, a more inclusive message. I know big tent and so on, but we're seeing a lot of women, we're seeing a lot of Latinos, African Americans. I think there needs to be a few more white men on the stage to try and close that gap with the white male voters.
All right. We're going to take a break, but before we do, want to get you at home involved in this conversation. Head over to our Facebook or Twitter page. Clinton at the DNC, big risk or big reward? We will find out tonight. Stay with us on RFL. We'll be right back.